Yeah, 7 to 9, I do transports, and then I do business stuff until my first client, and I'm usually back to back until the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then Enrique, he's my other trainer. He's actually on the floor today, so we're gonna be on here, in here.
Okay.
And I just opened up his schedule, and he's already starting to book up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy busy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody got a popping
Yeah.
COVID.
And we actually got recommended to you, to Canine Perspectives, by someone out in the suburbs. So it wasn't like even a city contact of ours. So
Oh, sure.
everyone like knows about you, it seems like.
I got you guys. I have a client earlier, said he came from Evanston. I have a client that comes out from St. Charles. I have a client that comes out from, it's a southwest suburb. And I have another one that comes out from, you know those are paintings, guys.
Huh?
Do you see where she was working at this?
You can correct this. That's funny. They're not the first dogs to do that, but
So crazy.
there we go. Do you remember who it was? Oh.
I forget her name. She runs, we were doing with her some, what are they called? Dog pack walks.
Sure.
And she actually did pretty good, but then winter happened and COVID hit harder in the winter. I forget her name. I forget the name of her group too.
Is his color on? No,
There you go.
You might
Is
know
hers?
her. Yeah, hers is on.
Okay. And these prongs are fitted loosely?
Loosely?
Yeah.
Are they too loose?
Yeah. So they should be at the top of the neck. I have a video that I can send you.
Okay.
I'm not, actually, it should be, because I sent
You
the-
sent it, yeah. I
Okay.
thought we put it on right.
Yeah, no, they should be up here.
Oh,
So now
okay.
that you have the prong collar, it would be prong collar, then e-collar.
Okay.
Okay, and the e-collar will keep it up, but I can already tell that that's too loose.
Okay,
You'd probably remove a few links off of hers,
okay.
and then,
This may be just one.
that collar is gonna die. It's red.
It's red. We were charging it.
Yeah, we charged it today. I have the charger in the car. Should I go get it?
Check that collar too. I have a charger here.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It
Oh, yeah,
shouldn't
that
be
one is
doing
too.
Uh,
Both are blinking.
Is it blinking thing?
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh no, that one is blue. Hers is blinking blue. Schaffa's is blinking red.
Okay, so go and remove Schaffa's.
Okay. Hey, sit. Sit.
How long did you charge it for?
Maybe like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that might be fine.
Just noticed
Because
it.
it was probably turned on and then it died, and that's why it wasn't
Yeah.
on right now.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
So did you, I know you said to call Maria about it. Do you happen to know what the price of the secondary remote?
I actually ordered one anyways.
Okay.
I know it's the shipment should be in this week, but I can get that info to you.
Or
Yeah, I can email Maria. I just have been.
We have construction at home, plus we're pregnant, plus I work a lot,
Plus the sewer thing. We have
plus
a sewer.
we have a sewer
training dogs.
situation.
Yeah, plus we're training dogs.
No worries, I get it. Yeah, but I ordered one anyways.
Okay.
I actually ordered a couple of those systems.
Okay.
Because I wasn't anticipating, because we ended up getting another person who needed that system. I'm like, all right, well, let's just get a few.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna teach them stationary control. Now these guys, are you still doing the alternating thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, are they ever together in the room?
No.
No, not without a separation.
Has there been anything where they've been in a room under, like if you're holding one dog and you're holding the other dog?
Yes, we do
And
that.
how do they do there?
Actually, last time
It was good.
we sat down to watch TV and they didn't have an issue.
Yep. He was holding him. I was holding her.
Yeah, we don't let them do it. Like he has his leash, and then we just lay down and watch TV, and he was on the floor and he didn't.
Yeah. But there has been times when that does not work well.
Right.
And she gets up and he gets aggravated and tries to attack her. But
Yeah, no, the animosity is there. It's not going anywhere.
Sure.
We haven't worked at it.
Sure, sure. So what we're gonna do is this is something that you can do inside to start rebuilding coexistence.
Okay.
Now, have we talked about muzzle conditioning and stuff?
yes.
Have you started, you've been doing that process?
We have the muzzles.
We have the muzzle, we have not started doing it.
Okay, start the process.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of stuff in your life.
No, this is important.
Yeah,
Yes.
muzzle conditioning, it can be a couple of days or it can be months.
Yep.
That's why I always tell people, as soon as I see them maybe on the console, I'm like, if you're gonna do something,
Yeah.
start conditioning now.
Okay.
Because the muzzle is a stressor, because it's removing their primary source of defense. So then we have that on, and then if they don't like each other, that's another stressor, and then the e-collar is another stressor. It's all these things going on, and then the dogs just go like ballistic.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like tackle all these things at once.
Yeah.
Now, we can force condition with the e-collar, like I've done it. It's just not pretty.
Yeah.
It's more difficult. Dogs usually tear up their face, they'll rip out their dew claws. That's usually a bit of blood. Yeah, dogs are crazy, man.
Yeah.
They'll like tear themselves like up to try to remove the muzzle. So yeah, definitely start that process, and it can be as simple as, even if you can only do once a day, just take your muzzles, take a Ziploc bag, put it in the muzzle, wrap it, put their meal, they eat their meal. If you can just do that, that's better than nothing. Because we usually do multiple. So we have a dog here that we're conditioning, where muzzle conditioning are. So her meal is split up into 4 parts.
Yeah.
So it's half cup, half cup, half cup, half cup. So 4 times a day she's eating out the muzzle.
Okay.
That's to help expedite the process, okay? But if all you have is just, 1 time a day to do it, just take the meal. If they don't eat from the muzzle, then they don't eat. Okay, we put the muzzle up the next day. I don't try to compensate the missed meal. It's the same serving. And eventually hunger is gonna kick in and they're gonna go, okay, only time I see food is when the muzzle comes out.
What about treats, like peanut butter in the muzzle?
You can. The only issue with that is some dogs, because a treat is not the same thing as nutrition. Like it's not a necessity for the dog. So like I've had people try to use treats for their dog, and the dog will take the treats, but they won't accept the muzzle. So with the food, it's like, this is,
This is what I eat.
exactly. So if you don't eat your food, you don't eat. So that's the fastest way to muzzle condition. It's just using the dog's food, and if they don't eat, they don't eat. It's against instinct for a dog to starve themselves to death, so don't worry about that. The longest we had a dog go without eating food was 5 days. But then by the 5th day, dog started eating and would always eat from the muzzle, because it learned. So there was no treats, there was no bones, there was no type of anything that they were eating. It was like, here's your food from the muzzle, or you're not eating today. Just kept repeating that. And the dog learned to love that muzzle real quick. Okay, so it's strict, but it works.
At what point they're comfortable enough that you can just put it on?
Yeah, that's what we have to figure out. So in the beginning, you're just trying to get them to keep their mouths in the muzzle. So something I even do is, because some dogs will learn to take some food, drop it on the ground and eat it here, okay? So I go, all right, then if you do that, the muzzle disappears, okay? Because they'll play games. So then they're like, hey, they come back and they're like, hey, where'd the muzzle go? Better keep your face in the muzzle, right? So what you'll start to see is when you bring the muzzle out, they'll start to be excited and they'll start kind of putting their mouth in there like, where's the food, right?
Yeah.
And they'll keep their face in there and they'll eat, and they'll pull their face out and they'll look back, is there anything more in there, right? Like you'll start to see them really want to have it on. And then once you see that, you can start to kind of clasp it. And then we should see them like, it's like wearing a collar.
Okay.
They shouldn't care about it,
Okay.
okay? Other questions?
No, we'll definitely get on that right.
You're listening?
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna teach stationary work, which is
Okay.
gonna be essentially like what you've been doing when like you said, you had the leash with Schaffa and you had Dharma, and then keeping them in the room and stuff. But this is gonna be a bit more controlled, so they can at least start learning how to coexist.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll work with her first.
Okay.
Who wants to start first?
I can go.
Okay. So we're gonna take remotes. All right. And what's your collar set at currently?
Nothing. I think he switched it back.
Okay.
But we've been working at 35.
Okay, so let's go down to 25. And you're gonna bring her in towards your side, and you're gonna shorten the leash. Right there, good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start about square away. Okay, so about this distance.
Yeah.
And what you're gonna do is you're gonna start tapping first, okay? About 2 to 3 taps. If you don't see a response, what I suggest is you step on the bed, because typically the first few are hard for the dog. And then keep tapping, and then you're gonna lightly pull towards the bed. Once Dharma is completely on the bed, you're gonna stop tapping,
Okay.
If she overshoots and like goes that way,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna counter her with leash pressure, start tapping. She hops back on, I stop tapping.
Okay.
And then repeat that process.
Okay. And if she, she knows the place command, should I not use that?
Right, because we want to teach her with the e-collar. So if you said place and she went there,
Mhm.
it doesn't give us the opportunity to use the remote.
Okay.
So anytime, even if the dog's been conditioned with food or prong, I always have to recondition using the e-collar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
So go ahead and show your leash a little bit more. About there, so that gives you more immediate leverage, okay? And then take a little step closer. That's good right there. And tap. 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 Bump your number, let's go to 30.
You see her face?
Is it tight enough?
Yeah.
Looks good, yeah. Tap. 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 Bump it. Tap. 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 Bump it.
Oh, darn
Tap. Tap. Bump it.
it. Her face is
Why is she not reacting?
I don't know, she's trying to be a tough girl.
Tap. 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 Bump it.
She said, what do you want from me?
Exactly.
Tap. 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 I think I see a twitch. Tap.
Yeah, I saw her twitch.
Yeah,
She's
she's
twitching.
Okay, what's the number now?
40 or 50.
Okay, so tap. 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 Now tap and pull. Pull, pull. Tap. 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 Yeah, keep going. Tap. There she goes. Praise, good girl.
Good girl.
And you say break and move backwards.
Okay, release.
And we'll repeat that one more time. Sit.
Should I pull her?
So 3 taps and then the pull. Okay, now pull. Tap. There we go. Good girl.
Good girl, darn. Good.
Good.
Good girl.
Great.
Okay, release.
Good. 3 more. Tap and pull. There we go. Good girl.
Good girl, darn. Good girl. Good job. Okay, release.
Good. 2 more.
Good girl.
Good.
Good girl. Good girl. Okay, release.
Good. 1 more. Good.
Good girl. Good girl.
Good. So now what you're gonna do is, go ahead and release her.
Release.
It's gonna be the same concept, but you're gonna begin walking around the placemat, okay? So you're gonna keep it at sending her from a square away, but you're gonna move around the center from different directions, okay?
Okay. Like I stop and send her?
Yeah, so then you can like stop right there and tap, tap, tap. There you go, good.
Good girl. Okay, release.
Come on.
There.
What did you do? Release. Sit.
Good.
Good girl. Good girl. Okay, release.
Yeah, 3 more.
Wait, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. It's okay. Calm down.
Good.
Good girl. Good girl.
Down.
Okay, release her. Release.
Down.
Good. Couple more. Good.
Good girl. Good girl. Okay, release. Release. Good. Good job, Dharma.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull her off, yep.
She was anticipating it. Let me walk her in again. She is my girl.
There you go.
Good.
So you see on the tap, now she went there?
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to condition, is that the tap needs to go to the bed.
Okay.
So that's why we taught it the way we did. So you're gonna do the same thing, except now you're gonna send her from about 2 squares away.
Okay.
So a little
Release.
bit further.
You go, Dharma.
There you go. Good girl.
Good girl. Good girl, Dharma. Good girl. Okay, release. Release. Babe, do you think Chef's gonna be able to get this? You never mastered play. Here. You never mastered plays, did you? Good girl. Wasn't really ready. Okay, release.
Good.
Good girl.
And one more.
Okay, release. Release. Schaffa's excited.
Sit.
Almost kept now pull. Yeah. So she felt the prong, so it stopped her, so she got a little confused.
Okay.
Okay,
Good girl.
good. So going to release her?
Okay, release.
Good. Let's go. We'll remove her collar and we'll put on Schaffa,
Okay.
and
Yep.
then we'll work with him next.
Since it's charging. Good girl.
How long should we leave the collars? Should they have them all day?
If you're doing stuff inside the house, you can. You just have to rotate it every couple of hours so they don't develop pressure sores.
Oh.
If you don't, because of the 2 probes.
Yeah.
It's not because of the stem.
Sure.
It's 2 things pressing against the leg for a long time.
Makes sense.
If you want comfort adapters, actually, this is an example. So this is known as a comfort adapter here.
Okay.
This is meant for extended wear. So if you want to have the collar of the dog and not have to worry about rotating so often, we have these as well. Okay. These can affect the contact a little bit. It can either get better or it can lose a little bit of power. It just
Okay.
depends. But otherwise, as long as you rotate your collar every 2 hours, there shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
Come on, Chef, I know you can do it.
Oh, no, Mom. Oh, no. All right. Ed's going to get his working number going.
Oh, he's on 2.
Yeah.
You're a big guy. Go ahead.
It's usually very responsive.
Shut up.
Hey. Here. Here. No? You're embarrassing me? Okay. Thank you. So,
What's the number currently at?
27.
Are you going to test that there?
You said-
Yeah, I'm bump it. Yeah, bump it.
Did you turn off the color?
No, it's still blinking, I see it. It's blue.
Yeah, bump it.
Usually he reacts very low.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, there's no contact. I'm looking at it, there's no switch. I mean, it's on, but it's just not making good contact.
Yeah. You good? I mean, lower it, but then it's gonna be like. All right.
He's so depressed. What is it on? Okay.
36.
There he is.
I don't know. Did he react?
Moment. I don't think I see a switch yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yep.
Yeah, he switched.
Okay. So you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna start square away. We're gonna keep it at the same side in the beginning. Tapping first 2 to 3 times and then using the leash pull to bring them forward, okay?
Okay.
Then pull. There you go. Good, praise, good
Good
pull.
boy. Yes, yes. Good boy. Yes. Release. Release.
Good, 4 more.
So funny.
Yep, choke up, good, tip. Tip, yeah, there's contact now.
Good boy, good boy. Release, release. Good boy, Schaffa. Release.
Good boy.
Good boy. Good boy. You act like you get bitten every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely cool. Good.
Good boy. Yes, yes. Good boy. Yes, yes. You don't want to see me? Why? Are you upset? Release, release. Schaffa. Release, release. Do you think his demeanor is wrong? It's just like
He's so
depressed.
He's so dramatic.
He's so dramatic.
He's,
Yeah, because I mean, it feels really, like right there when he was sniffing, like I could see his muscle twitch and he didn't care about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just lazy. We'll do one more.
Good boy. Good boy. All in. All in. No? Okay. Release. No, I don't like it right now.
Yeah.
Good boy.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So now you start to do the same thing but moving around, but still keeping it square.
Release. Should he be facing the...
No, that doesn't matter, yeah.
Good boy. Yes. Good boy. Yes.
Why does he
Really?
go down right away? I like that mat thing.
Yes. Yes. Good boy. Yes. Good boy. That's really good. Release. Release.
He's so funny. Oh,
I
good
didn't even
boy.
So here, if he starts to go prematurely, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have you stop him,
Okay.
so that we know for sure he's going because of the,
Ah.
okay.
Release. 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 He's like, I don't want to be shot. Good boy. Good boy.
Good, one more.
Release.
There we go. Yeah.
Good boy.
That was the one
Good
tip right.
boy. Good boy. That's really good, boy.
So now you're gonna send him from about 2 to 3 feet, 2 to 3 squares away, right?
Okay. Release. Good boy. Good boy. Why you act like you're so tired? Come on. Off. Release.
There you go. Good.
Good boy. Good boy. That's a good boy. Release. Release. Come on, we're working. He looks at me like, are we done?
Yeah. We're ahead for
Good.
Good boy. Good boy. That's a good boy. All in. All in. No, you want to? Okay. Release. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
I'll do one more.
Releasing dog. Come on. Release. Release. Come on. Release.
this. Relax, Tyler.
Out your own, bro.
You guys can
There you go.
Good boy.
Now we're gonna
Good.
keep him there.
Okay.
And then go and have a seat and hold the leash. Good. So what we're doing here is we're teaching the send, feeling the pressure, and then going to the place. And then we're gonna start layering the word. Okay. So you guys know, of course, places like go here, don't move. So you can do as long as you want, 30 minutes, 2 hours, or whatever. But before, I'm assuming you did positive reinforcement, was it?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
the place? Yeah.
Throw food at the place.
Is that if the dog gets off, there's no consequence.
Right.
Right? Now we have consequence. So right now we're teaching Schaffa and Dharma that to turn off the e-collar, they go to the object. And once they go to the object, everything goes away. So here, if Schaffa were to get up and step off of the bed, you wouldn't say anything. You would just simply start tapping and then use the leash to guide him back if needed. Ideally, he would feel the tap and he would go right back to it. Okay, so you're not having to do much. So now we have a means of teaching him not to get off. So place means go here and don't get off. Okay? So if Schaffa gets off and then you were to say place again and he goes back, you've not taught him to not get off.
Right.
You've simply reset the command. Okay, because you've said place, go there, but nothing corrected him to keep him there.
Sure.
Okay, so it's a small little detail, but it means a lot. It's probably one of the most common things that people complain about, where it's like, Jesse, I say place, my dog goes and they get off and I say place and they just keep getting off and they keep saying place.
Yeah.
I go, because you're resetting the command every time. So your new command overrides your old command, even if it's the same command.
Okay.
Okay? So to teach the don't get off, it's place. And then he gets bored 20 minutes later, he tries to get off, you tap him. He goes, oh, I don't like being tapped. He jumps back to place. Now he learns, if I feel the tap, it means go here. But then if I try to get off, the tap will kick in, and the only way to avoid it is not to get off in the first place. Okay? So, what we're working on here is ascent. So it should be easy. One tap, the dog should go. So that's why we were doing all those repetitions. Okay, so we started pretty close. We started at the square away to make it very easy for you and the dog to get the command done. And then slowly we start to make it more difficult by adding more distance in different directions. Okay, so here, what we're now doing is working on the stay. Okay, we're working on the double component. Yeah. So we don't say stay, right? We would say place, the dog goes, and then stay is implied.
Okay.
We create the implied stay by when they try to get off, you tap them. Exactly. Okay. So here, when you do stationary stuff, like you could literally go home tonight and do 2 hours. Okay. But they would make mistakes.
Yep.
And so then if they got off 30 minutes later, you would correct them, they go back on. 15 minutes later, they try to get off, you correct them, they go back on. An hour later, you try to get off, you tap them, they go back on, right? So they're learning, okay, when they say place, it means go here, and if we try to get off, we're just gonna get tapped. So we're gonna decide I'm gonna just choose to be here, okay?
Does place have to be always in the same place?
The place is super versatile. You can have a place in each room, the bedroom, the living room, and the kitchen. You can have one bed per dog that you move to different rooms. Or you can have one place in the same spot and you can send the dog from wherever. Okay? So you can do any of those options. You can even have more than one place in the room, but you have to have something to distinguish it. So if I had a place here and a place here, and they're both placed, I would have to like point or something to give the dog direction on which one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Or I give them different names, place and bed. Okay, and then the dog will learn to recognize which object to go to by the word that you're using. Okay?
Okay.
Other questions?
No.
So the most common ones that people typically do is like one bed and then just move it around. So then the dog will learn to recognize the object. So you can put different places or locations within the home. And they'll, when you say place, they'll just look for that object and go, oh, that's where I'm supposed to go. Okay. The other one is also just having like a place in the living room or the bedroom, because that's typically the most common place that people are for the dog. If you're in the living room and you say place, they would most likely go to the one in the living room. Which
Yeah.
is where we are. Exactly. They wouldn't, if there's one in the kitchen, they wouldn't go to the one in the kitchen. Okay. So here, when it comes to duration work, we don't need to build up to it. You know, like I said, you could literally go home right now and do 2 hours. It's just there's going to be a lot of corrections. But that's how this starts. Okay. So in the beginning, what I suggest is, you know, if you have the couch, you know, there's a dog bed here and a dog bed over there, is place and you're right next to them. You can hold on to the leash, kind of like what you're doing, or you can step on it. Just watch TV.
Yep.
Okay. So then, whenever you know you're going to be stationary for a period of time, you can practice this.
Okay.
Eating lunch, breakfast, dinner, watching TV, working from home, reading a book. Anytime that you're just going to be there, you can do this command. Okay. So I just tell people, apply it as you go out throughout your day.
Okay.
You can do this multiple times. You can do 15 minutes for breakfast, 30 minutes for lunch, 2 hours for dinner, you know, on the same day.
Great.
So the exercise that we just did, place and release, you would do 3 to 5 minutes a day, okay? Because it's repetitive. So like you notice he didn't want to really get off because he's thinking, well, you're trying to pull me off and tap me to go back.
Right.
So it gets frustrating because the dog doesn't want to be tapped and you're forcing him into that situation.
Sure.
So that exercise, 3 to 5 minutes, once a piece with each dog, okay? And then the stationary component of it, you can do that at the same time. You don't have to do one, like you don't have to do the place and release until they're really good and then do duration. You can do them at the same time,
Okay.
okay? Because this one's not repetitive. This is just go here, don't move. Okay, so I could do 3 minutes of place and release, and then I can do place and then leave him there for 2 hours if I wanted to. Okay?
Tap if he moves.
Exactly. So the only time he's being corrected is if he breaks off.
Okay.
So you're working on 2 things. The place and release is to teach them very easy, tap, go here. And then the applying it as you watch TV or eat dinner or whatever is so that you build the stationary control. Okay?
Okay.
Other questions?
So say after we're done watching TV and we're ready to like move on to whatever else, we would then release them still, like, so we're done.
Giving the release command?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your release word is the universal release for everything. The heel, the sit, the stay, the down, anything that we'll teach obedience-wise, release is universal.
Yes.
You're done.
Okay.
And then you decide when you're done.
Okay.
You know, if it's like, hey, I'm gonna get up and go grab something, or I'm gonna go do something, and I'm gonna come back 5 minutes later, they have to stay still, right?
Okay.
We can build to that.
Okay.
So this week, when you practice, you're gonna keep them next to you. Do as long as you want, as many times as you want. This week, if you have to get up to go do something, unless you can pass the dog off and say like, hey, correct them if they get up, I release first, and then I go do what I'm gonna do, okay? So like, let's say you have them both in the same room, you're doing stationary work, and you're gonna get up and you're watching Schaffa. You would say, release, then get up, and then you could take Schaffa with you, so that he doesn't come wandering over by Dharma. And then, you know, you do your thing and you come back and you can tell him when you get back to place, exactly.
Okay.
So the reason why we release first and then get up is because if you get up and then release, he's gonna think every time you get up, you're gonna release him. Because they're picking up on that pattern.
Yep.
Okay, so here we avoid that pattern by releasing him first and then getting up. Okay?
Okay.
So then you come back and you can replace them, or you can leave them in the other room and close the gate or whatever. But we're just trying to avoid creating that problem.
Yep.
By the second week, if you've been practicing consistently and regularly, you can start going to, okay, place, and when you get up to walk away, you don't release them. They're probably gonna try to follow you. You correct them.
Yep.
He goes back, go do what you're gonna do, come back, and then continue with your show or whatever. So you're teaching him, so the first week, you're kind of layering the foundation, getting him used to being corrected, getting him used to going back. The second week, you're getting up and doing things very quickly, short things, right? And then if he gets up, you correct them, but at that point, they should be able to correct themselves easily. The third week, you can start doing distance, and then the fourth week is like when the people have like the dog across the room, and they'll vacuum and they'll sweep and they'll work out or whatever,
The dog stays there.
and the dog stays put.
I will nag to see that.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah.
But it just takes time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so when it comes to stationary control, you guys are expecting, right?
Yeah.
My suggestion to you is you do, I don't want to say extreme, but you'll do more. So like I had a couple whose dog kept growling at the baby when it started to crawl. And they had 2 dogs, and the one dog wasn't a big fan of the baby. So then when they did the boarding train here, we were having the dogs 4 to 6 hours, like not moving, okay? And the reason I did that was because I know with the newborn, you know, it's gonna be crawling at some point, and their attention was gonna be on the baby, not a whole lot of attention on the dog. And I was like, and you wanna know that your dog is there, and you know they're not gonna move. So you can just worry about the baby, okay? So on average, most people do 2 to 2.5 hours of stationary work. My suggestion to you would be like you do 3 to 4 hours, okay? Because you want
Of your staying there and you're not going anywhere.
the entire time.
Okay.
That's it, okay? And this is as one big chunk,
Right.
as opposed to broken up throughout the day.
Yep.
Because you want to plan for when things get crazy. You have so much control over your dogs that it just makes that part of raising the baby easier,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But yeah, typically when it comes to babies in the home, when they're crawling or when they start walking, is when the dogs start having a problem. Because puppies mature very quickly, you know,
Mhm.
within a couple of weeks they're walking around and stuff like that. Whereas babies are immobile. And then, you know, a few months in, all of a sudden they start to crawl, and the dog's like, what the hell?
Mhm.
It's weird for them. Then all of a sudden the baby starts walking and the baby's like
Mhm.
off balance and stuff. For dogs, a lot of times it's strange.
Yeah.
So if that were to ever happen when one of the dogs would growl, I wouldn't take it personally.
Okay.
It's very common
Okay.
because they're unsure about what's going on. But that's where all this control kind of kicks into play.
Okay.
And our insurance, sorry for interrupting you, our insurance policy will be the muscles.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So then, when is the due date?
September 26th.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
You know, but definitely, you know, start that process. Other questions about this stuff?
Mm-mm.
I like these beds.
Yeah, those are really nice.
Or really expensive?
They're very expensive.
I think I probably paid $300 for that.
Each?
Yeah, and I have a bunch. You guys seen I have a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Damn, why
If I
are they so
remember
expensive?
correctly, so these are forever. Like these, we've had them for a year and a half. I mean, they're dinged up, but like they don't tear. The dogs can't chew them. Fully weatherproof, rain, sleet, or snow. You know, they don't rust. So they're expensive, but they have a lifelong guarantee. Those screws, we've never had to they're not loose. They stay tight the entire time. And each piece is replaceable individually if you need to. But I got this brand because I was going to use them for my facility and unite dogs all day, every day. And they're awesome.
Yeah.
They don't get hot for the dog. Because
No.
this one I think runs hot. We have mats for their crates and he doesn't love it eventually because he gets really hot.
I think they have something, because that's a vinyl.
Okay.
I thought I saw something that like it stays cool
Okay.
or whatever. But yeah, no, these things were a great investment for me.
Yeah.
So they're called Coranda beds if you want to look into it. I might be misremembering, but I think this one's like $300.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
No, not about the stationery. I
I
think
want-
that will be helpful.
I want another remote
Okay, we can go.
eventually.
Yeah, we'll get one.
What was your, did you have another?
So we've been walking them separate. Are we gonna talk about walking them together?
Yeah, so I was looking at this class, but then in repeats on the floor.
Oh,
So I
okay.
figured we'd do something today where,
Okay,
yeah, so you can start the inside stuff.
okay, that's perfect.
But next time for sure we can do the walking together stuff.
Okay,
So then,
They're not dumb. Of course they know once we put this type of color, they have to be with us. And they work perfectly. We have yet to properly walk them without the collars. I mean, we take them on, you know, the park and so on. But he knows that once this collar is on, his business, and without it, he knows that he doesn't have it.
correct.
That's how it's gonna be.
That's, yeah, so remember, cop on a collar,
Right.
right? Because like as people on the expressway, not everybody goes the speed limit.
Sure.
Most people don't go the speed limit.
Right.
But they see a squad car, what happens?
Slow down.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So it's not the training or anything like that, because people always ask that. They're like, and that's why in the consultation, I'm pretty sure I talked about the speeding thing,
Mhm.
Sure.
is because even as humans, we don't do it. And we know, like I know 70 miles an hour is the speed limit, but I want to get to where I want to get to faster. So if I know the cop's not around, I'm gonna speed, right?
Sure.
So here, same thing for dogs. The cop is that collar. Now, there's a lot of things that come into play. So what makes things tricky here is that you have dogs as companionship.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And then leash pull towards the placement. There you go. Yep. There you go. Yep. Right there. So here, complement color. Oh, companions, right? So dogs don't need companionship. That's a human thing, right? So you can't be an authority and a buddy at the same time.
You cannot.
It doesn't work that way,
Okay.
right? So like our cops are friends.
No.
Well, cops are cops, right? Do you tell your friends what to do?
Yeah.
Because they're your friends,
Mhm.
right? I'm an employer. I can tell my employees what to do, right? But I'm not friends with my employees, right? If I was, that affects the relationship.
Sure.
You know, and I've worked at places where there was like a manager that was really cool with the employees, but then when it came to them being an
Yep.
authority, there would be tension because the employees didn't see them that way, and then the manager's upset because now the employees not giving them respect, but because that's how that relationship was set.
Sure.
Okay, so same thing with dogs. Here, you're a companion and authority figure. So that's why I tell people you want to be more authority than you are a buddy. So like my mom, my dad, my parents, they're not my friends.
Right.
But I've done stuff in life with them that's kind of buddy, right? But if something came up where it's like, she's like, hey, I'm not your friend, I'm your mom, and you're gonna do this. Like, it would shift gears right away,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So same thing for dogs. The cuddling, the affection, the treats, the cooing, all that stuff brings you
Calms down.
down. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, don't fight,
You're right.
right? So for me, like when I used to board dogs at my house, I used to have dogs, human and dog aggressive, that if it wasn't for me and how strict I am and how harsh I would give them consequence, they would tear each other up. But they knew, they're like, Jesse's here, we don't screw around. They didn't like each other. You would see them, they would avoid each other. When they walk around each other, you would see them kind of like, no tension. But because I was so strict, if I didn't have that kind of strictness, it would have been chaos. You know, here with like my facility and stuff, we get a lot of dogs that can only come here. And it's because we're so strict, you know? So when it comes to the coexistence within the home, the drawback to the remote collar is that your means of correction is external. Their means of correction is built in. That is that mouth.
Yeah.
So it's teeth, right? So that's why early on in my career, I remember it was a family of 4 dogs. They had 2 Chihuahuas, a chocolate, a pit bull mix, and then it was a chocolate or black lab. And when I came in, the black lab had attacked the pit bull mix. And sutures, stitches, drains, like the works, like really just whooped this pit. And the pit bull would not go into the room if the lab was in it. Like if the lab was in here and she walked up, she'd walk right away, like walk away.
Yeah.
So what happened was through physicality, you know, using those teeth, that lab taught that pit, I don't want you in the same room as me. And that pit was like, okay, that's it. You know, that was their harmony. But unfortunately, obviously with humans, that's not harmony for the humans.
Right.
But for the dogs, it's harmony. You know, so that's why when we talk about corrections and stuff, the other thing that you can use is what's called a bunker. Have we talked about this yet? Okay. So when it comes to correcting behavior, the e-collar gives you the maximum control. On or off leash, the intensity I can get up there if I need to. But let's say you need to correct something and the collar isn't on. We use what's called a bunker. Okay, it's just a rolled up towel, and you can use hair bands or bands to keep it shape. So it's a firm but soft surface. So let's say the dog's barking out the window and the owner wants the dog to stop barking out the window. Well, if the collar is on and you correct them, well, the dog won't bark out the window when the collar is on. Take the collar off, now we get a problem again. Okay, so they'll use the bunker to correct the dog when the collar is not on.
What was the bunker again?
It's just a rolled up towel.
Rolled up towel.
Yeah, take a towel, you roll it up kind of like a cylinder,
Uh-huh.
and then hair bands, rubber bands to keep the shape.
Okay.
So it makes kind of like, you know, kind of like a paper towel.
Yeah.
And you use it to bump the dog. So you can either whack the dog or bump the dog with it.
Like throw it at them?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a means of physical correction that's not reliant on the collar. Okay? So here, let's say, and I would actually start this process now too, so you start making them receptive to it, is, you know, let's say Schaffa starts to bark at something he hears, you bunk him with or correct him with the bunker. Okay? Now what I suggest in the beginning is you make 3 of them. Okay, 2 to 3 of them. Because what can happen is you'll go to correct the dog and they'll think it's a game.
Right.
And they'll pick it up and they'll shake it or whatever. They'll look at you like, hey, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So if that happens, what I tell my clients to do is you'll bonk them. They'll pick it up or whatever. You'll bonk them again. They'll go like, what? Bonk them again, and then you pick up and you just keep cycling, okay? Eventually, they go, this isn't a game. And you might hear them yip or yelp and then run off. Now you've just taught them that the bonker is not a toy.
Okay.
Okay, it's super common.
Okay.
You're gonna feel me, but trust me, it's gonna make a really big
Yeah.
difference. So, when I was growing up, like I was raised old school. And I remember when I was like a teenager, like 13, 14, my mom spanked me. And I laughed.
Uh-oh.
Because I was bigger. I was thinking tough, spank didn't hurt that much, right? So I laughed, and I remember she just looked at me, and she just kept whooping me. Eventually, I wasn't so tough
Stop
anymore.
being funny.
It stopped being funny, exactly. And I broke. I'm like, all right. She's like, is it funny now? I said, no. She's like, all right then.
Yeah.
Go, right? So it's the same thing here. And it's happened so many times with my clients, and I tell them, make several of them. You go to correct your dogs, and they think it's a game. You correct again, and you have to be firm. Eventually, you're gonna hit the yip, they're gonna run off, and they're gonna be like, all right, e-collar, no e-collar, mom and dad,
Not playing.
not playing.
What about, I'm very vocal with the dogs.
Mhm.
And I baby them and I like,
Maybe talk them.
yeah,
Mhm.
has to stop.
It's not that it has to stop, it's just you have to balance it. So it's funny, people will feed their dog the best food, give their dog the best medical care, the best leashes, right, all that stuff, but they won't discipline them.
Mhm.
That's the one thing that a dog needs, discipline, and maybe even harsh discipline, you know? But everything else is easy.
Yeah.
So then here, it's, if you do the baby talk stuff, you kind of have to overcompensate on the authority side now. You know, and every case is different. Like, you know, if you have a soft dog, it's you know, you can get away with being, like, I get people that do completely everything wrong. But the dog is such a passive, I don't care about anything dog, that it's like, who cares? They just need obedience, right? But when we get these kinds of cases where we have dogs in the family and there's conflict, you have to kind of be like that boot camp personality type, okay? So what I would suggest is that cooing and the baby talk stuff it's affection, right? Apply it when they've done something good. So as opposed to just giving them affection because you love them, it's making them work for it. So like my dogs, when I pet them, they fucking love it
Mhm.
because they only get it sparingly. Okay, when they do something good, if they do something correct, I give them the affection. And I'm passive as it is, so I'm like a calm affection. But you can just see how much they enjoy it because it's such a sparing thing. So same thing with these guys. So it's just instead of affection for them existing, affection for them doing something good, for behaving well, for making a correct decision. That's when you give that affection in. Okay, but then if you're willing to give affection to the nth degree, you also have to be willing to give discipline to the nth degree. That's where people struggle. You know, they're like, oh, I'll only do this much. I'm like, nah, you can't do that. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be willing to go there. Because now your dog goes, you're a softie, you don't really mean it, you're gonna try to discipline me, but you're not gonna follow through.
Right.
So like, I got a case right now who is an extreme case. Showed up on 3 types of drugs, gabapentin, trazodone, and fluoxetine.
The dogs.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Dog still wanted to attack me. And I was like, why did you have the drugs? Like, it's not working, right? So then, that's black sleeve right there.
Mhm.
Me smacking the ground with it is like his worst, like he hates it, okay? So on the 3rd or 4th class, because we're making steps of getting him to not attack people and stuff like that, I was like, very good, I'll do this. So I'm like smacking the ground with that. I had to go to 127 continuous for minutes before he finally backed away. Literally holding the button down, because it only lasts 12 seconds.
Right.
And then I have to reset, hold it down, and just keep repeating. So eventually he was like, all right, and he would back off. Okay? Literally 3 to 5 minutes. The next class, we were like at 60 tap. He was backing away. He wasn't attacking the sleep anymore. Okay? So the reason I bring that up is because what makes me an effective and efficient trainer is I go to the nth degree if I need to.
Yep.
So we always start low, we work our way up. Whereas most people are like, all right, well, it's not working. I'm like, no, it's gonna work. Like anybody would like, dude, it's already been 5 minutes. And I'm like, I would have been like, yeah, sure, like whatever, it's not working. But because I've done this for so long, you can only stay so intense and can only ignore something for so long before finally it's like, all right. So using that to my advantage, and it sucked. Like even for the owner, she was like, it's the thing. I was like, I know, like, but if I don't ever get him over this, we're not gonna get anywhere, you know. But sure enough, we got him over it. Then the next class, way easier. Okay. So here, being willing to go to that extent if needed to keep the harmony between them, you know, because I walk into homes with dead dogs. Like that's where dogs will go.
Yeah.
If a dog's like, you know what, I don't like this tension here, I'm gonna just take you out. Because then I don't have to worry about the tension anymore. Because they're not governed by human laws. They're not governed by emotion. They're not governed by love. You know, they're primal. So here, tip. Tip. And then usually, tip. There we go.
Did you see that? If you redirected his attention to Dharma, and nothing would have happened, he probably would have started like go after him.
Schaffa to her?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're talking about like he responded to that,
Right.
went over to you, then went over to her.
Right.
Gotcha.
She does the same.
Yeah.
So, so that's tough, you know. So you have to be willing to go there too. So you're not being mean. Whenever we're doing this, my energy is always neutral. You know, this is great because it allows you to do all that yelling. Like the entire time with Doug, that's the dog I'm talking about. If you want his videos on YouTube too.
Yeah.
I'm quiet. That's an all work. You know, and eventually he backs off and I go, great. Let's build on that. Same thing with the bonker. Even though you have to do it firmly, your energy is neutral. Okay? I'm not angry, I'm not aggressive,
It's
I'm
not
not frustrated. No. Because that's what creates the problem.
Yeah.
Is that people bring in anger, they bring in frustration, and that emotional energy is what makes dogs not like the obedient, the discipline. Okay? Because dogs, it sounds bad, but there's no real emotion behind it. It's just vocalization.
Right.
You know? Questions? So, what we're gonna do here is start adding the word place. Go ahead and release Schaffa.
Release. Good boy.
And what you're gonna do here is you're gonna walk around, come to a stop like you were before. But you're gonna say the word place first,
Okay.
then tap to send it. Okay?
So anywhere?
Correct.
I'm trying to not, okay.
Place.
Like that.
Good boy. Good boy. Okay. Release. You're trapped. Come on, man. Is that what you got me like this? Release. I haven't even touched it.
So bring him back. Yeah, so don't allow him. There you go. So you would just, limit him so that we know he's responding to the word itself.
Okay. Place.
Yep.
Place.
Yep, no repeats.
Okay.
No repeats. Yeah, so instead of saying place again, you would just tap it.
Okay.
2 more.
Release. Good boy.
So you say place and then tap.
Correct.
Place.
Yep, now forward. Good. Much better. There you
Good
go.
boy. Good boy. Don't lay down, bro. Release. We're training.
Okay, 2 more.
That makes
This is why we can only do this so short, right?
Yeah.
3 to 5 minutes.
Because they get annoyed. And they're really, well, you're getting me out, get me in.
Yeah.
Place.
Yeah. So that's not disobedience, it's just trying to avoid the pressure.
Good boy. That's really good. Good boy. Good.
And 1 more.
Release. Good boy. Come on. Place. Sorry, I agree.
That's all right. Good, go ahead and have a seat.
Good boy.
I think we normally have to
Yeah.
repeat with them.
Good boy.
So here, repeating disempowers what you say.
Okay.
And growing up, my mom was like, I'm not gonna repeat myself, you know, so I tell you once, you get to do it.
Right.
So, same concept here. So you cue the word and then kick in with the pressure right away. Otherwise, he'll learn to ignore you for the first few times, and then he's gonna be, well, the third time is the one that you mean, because that's the one you actually want to run.
How long do you have to charge those?
It should only be a 2-hour quick charge.
2 hours?
Yeah. So I'm surprised it was still red, now it's blue.
Should I release them?
No, we'll keep them there. I was just testing for this collar. When you go home, charge it to like 10 o'clock, whatever, another hour or so. It should be fully charged. Okay, so after 2 hours, it should be fully charged. Keep an eye on that blue.
Okay.
How often do you use these?
I mean,
Whenever we walk.
Only when's the last time you charged it?
I don't think we've charged it.
You're trying to
Oh, so it's the first time you charged it
Yes.
since you've received it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And we're using them for putting classes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that, because sometimes the battery can be bad.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's just that I think it was just whittled down. That it probably didn't have enough juice in
Sure.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
It should say in your booklet, I believe this should be a 2-hour quick charge.
Okay.
But this way, if for whatever reason that does happen to have a bad battery, you can let me know.
I'm sure they have a warranty.
Yeah. So here for the place command, he can sit, stand, lay down, doesn't matter. He just has to stay on the bed.
Yep.
Okay. So I focus more on him after her since she already knows place.
Yeah.
So when you go home, you would do the same thing with her, place, tapping to send her and stuff. If you're gonna use more than one object or a new object, you have to teach the new object.
Okay.
Okay, they're not gonna just transfer place to the new object. So if it's like a towel, you'll plop it down, place, tapping, pulling to guide them there. And after a few minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes, they'll associate like, oh, okay, this is also place, okay? So same thing with the dog bed. If you get a new dog bed and it looks different, don't assume that they're gonna learn that that's place. You reteach it, okay? Even in 2 years, you have to reteach it.
Gotcha.
Because dogs don't immediately transfer things to objects. Questions? So your homework for this week, practice this, do as long as you want.
Yep.
But this will help you start to be able to integrate them in the same room and stuff and having control.
Yeah.
As we go along, we push it to the point where they have to coexist on the same dog bed to force that
With
We
muscle?
better have those
Yeah.
muscles by then.
yeah. that's-
Okay, I was
yeah,
gonna
the
say.
muscles. Okay.
Will this stop a fight once it already started?
Yes and no. Depends. Depends on the size of the dog.
Right.
Depends on the intensity.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing all of this stuff
Yeah.
first, so that they get conditioned.
Oh, they get intense.
You know, if whenever that's has happened, it's usually 127 continuous
Mm-hmm.
to get them to pull out.
Gotcha.
Okay. The only times I've not seen it work would be Doug. It worked, but it took me 3 to 5 minutes, right? But that's controlled. If we have a dog fight going on, you don't want 3 to 5 minutes to pass before
One of them is already dead.
right?
Usually when they have gotten into fights, it's no more than 1 second or 2 seconds that I'm over them. This is Schaffa. Not a bite, it wasn't both sides, it was me grabbing his collar, pulling him out when he was lunging
Mhm.
to bite,
Yeah.
so he just hit me.
Yeah.
But this was, 2 stitches, not too bad, but it was very deep. But yeah, just
Yeah.
fun times.
So here, the whole purpose of this stuff is to condition so that
Yeah.
we don't ideally see that.
Yep.
Now, if they get in a fight and they got their muscles on,
Who cares?
you can take all the time in the world, right? It allows you, like, get it out of your system, look, we're gonna shut that down.
Right.
Because they have to stop,
Yep.
okay? Because if you come in and pull them apart and stuff, it doesn't get anywhere.
Um,
Once they've learned the decision of, and I suggest Doug,
Yeah.
I think it was lesson
I feel like we saw that one.
4 or 5. He's a little
Okay.
great pity, and we're in this room. And it's lesson 4 or 5, and it's me with the lady, and it's just, 3 to 5 minutes of continuous until he backed off. Okay, and then the next class, like I said, like 60, tap, tap, and he was done. He wanted nothing to do with it. Okay, he still didn't like it, but we were able to shut him down at 60 because we did controlled context. So depends on the size of the dog, depends on the intensity and stuff. But the only times I've ever had that work were with Doug technically, but it just took time. And then dogs are like 100 pounds plus.
Okay.
Because there's so much body weight and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I've had some dogs where we have to put 2 collars on them to shut them down. You know, they're 150 pound dogs. Yeah. So,
150 pounds.
yeah.
That's huge.
One of them was a Rottie. He was 150. He was 130. But the other one was called a bully. It's just this massive looking like pit. It's 150 pounds. And he was really aggressive. Yep. He needed 2 collars. So. I know. That's the stuff that people don't think about. Like I have a dog right now. She's 110. She's a little. Like, she's like her size, maybe a little bit bigger. 110 pounds. Just all just muscle. You know. And she's dog aggressive. And I was like, man, you're lucky she's not human aggressive, man. That'd be such so difficult.
This one is 140 pounds of fat, right?
She's not.
Well, now you're on a diet.
Yeah, she's on a diet. We have been cutting down the food. We gotta.
Yep. Good. Other questions?
That sounds gonna be. No,
I don't think so. No.
Good.
I'm glad that we're doing this one.
Yeah, I think, because right now I typically like go watch TV in a different room, and Isaac's downstairs with Schaffa, and I'm upstairs with Dharma.
Oh,
And it's
sure.
We're not supposed to, but that's the only time that we can relax.
Yeah.
With the dogs being outside of their crates, because we also don't want them in the crates 10 hours a day.
100%, yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah, no, with this, you can start having them in the same room and stuff.
yeah.
And then you each have your own dog still.
Yeah.
And then once we get the muzzles and everything, we'll start to like
Yep.
really push things. Okay?
We'll work on the muzzles.
Awesome. And I'll have another one of those by next week, because I already placed the order.
Okay.
See,
I placed a big order last week.
you don't know how much they are, right?
I'll check for you.
Okay.
And then I'll send you, we'll send you the, actually, if you look at the
Website?
you
No,
got
I
the-
think, because Maria sent us an itemized thing, I want to say, because she cost the 2 collars and then the remote, I thought it was like $230 or $250.
The remote? Okay.
I'll look again.
Yeah.
She sent an email with some details.
Yeah, if you take the cost of the remote, and then the Chicago tax is 10.25%,
Okay.
and then that's how you figure it out. But I can check too.
Can I release it?
Yep.